The thing that I want to focus on most tonight, and they will fill in some of the edges, is I want to focus on what is essential, the bottom line. And the bottom line is that the classroom is the single most important unit of public education. Classroom. You don't learn chemistry or language or math or science. You do not learn core subjects in the gymnasium. You don't learn them at the Merrill Center. You don't learn them anywhere other than the classroom. The classroom used to be the center of gravity of the public education universe, and now it is not. So as we talk about reform, as we talk about public education, let's keep in mind that what happens in the classroom and everything that impacts the classroom is what our primary mission must be. And while the classroom used to be the center of gravity in public education, it is now the victim of top-down micromanagement. It is the source of job justification for administrators who can't teach or gave up on teaching because it was too damn difficult. It is the research and development wing of private corporations and consultants who look at the classroom as their profit center, research and development center to create cash flow and profits for these corporations and these consultants. It is the tool of political manipulation. And by political manipulation, I mean that the whole foundation of public education finance and public education constitutionally revolves around the closure of the academic equity gap between white and minority students. Thus it was in 1971 when William Wayne Justice, federal judge, reviled and revered, formally ended segregation in the state of Texas and mandated that the Texas Education Agency develop specific curricular programs designed to compensate minority group children for the sins and the damage inflicted during racial isolation. And from 1971 to 1978-79, in that period of window, began accountability testing. And accountability testing from that day until this day has been not about the academic sanctity or the academic credibility or the academic integrity of the classroom. It has been about sustaining constitutionality for public education in the state of Texas. It has been about keeping the state of Texas out of the courthouse. And for the most part, with some exceptions, it has succeeded in doing that. It is an inefficient distributor of students. It is as if Charles Manson and his helter-skelter gang got hold of a computer and said, what can we do to more efficiently destroy the academic integrity of the classroom? And they pushed a button, and that's what we're stuck with today. It is systemically removed from the concept of academic integrity for growing numbers of classrooms. And when you look at the data, you will see that what started out at the lower end of the academic spectrum has now creeped up and up and up. And the notion that the honors classes at Seven Lakes High School are equivalent in any meaningful way to the honors classes at Morton Ranch or Maid Creek is not sustainable from an empirical standpoint. So what we have is all of these forces that have driven the sanctity, the integrity, the nobility of what once was the greatest institution in public education, and that's the classroom. And what we have replaced it with is that we have a situation now, today, where the classroom has become an environment where classroom teachers have never had less actual control of what happens in that classroom, but assign more blame for what goes wrong in that classroom. And there's one reason for that. because the center of gravity of public education has shifted. The center of gravity now is the superintendent of schools. The center of gravity now is the superintendent of schools. And you think about that. We used to have an institution, and I refer to that institution as bobbleheads. Bobbleheads, the institution formerly known as the school board. And unfortunately, their bobble only goes this way. It has become an institution that refuses to hold a superintendent, refuses to hold the administration accountable for what it does. So, as I address the rest of my remarks, I want to note, and I'll have to use a mixed metaphor. I've referred to the superintendent of schools as the center of gravity. So far has public education deteriorated that I am compelled to use mixed metaphors. At this point, I might start talking about the planets that orbit the universe. I want to call them alligators. Alligators are in orbit around the center of truth, around the center of gravity in school districts. And those are budgets, and those are the Texas legislature, and that's tax, and that's construction, and that's whether or not we should have AstroTurf on the practice fields. That's whether or not we should use bond funds to buy land that completes a landlocked road stadium so we can eventually have some megaplex complex. Those are the alligators. Those are the things that if you get distracted from, that you will lose sight of the core reform that must be made. And that core reform is you must restore the classroom as the center of gravity, and you must repel those forces which keep you from doing that.